I'm not going to brag, but I picked 70-3. What was the final score? 71-0. Let's take a quick look back and give out some awards, some Torchbearer Awards, top performers. We do that right now, and it's brought to you by, of course, Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. 4 Downs is right now, I think. Where is it? There it is.
4 Downs. 4 questions. 4 answers. The Dave Hooker Show.
4
Downs. A presentation of OffTheHookSports.com.
All right, here we go. We'll hand out the Torchbearer Awards, or as I once called him, the Torch Dude. And John Wilkerson waited for a break to verbally chide me. We were broadcasting from Circle Park back in the day. But it's a torchbearer. It goes to for those that don't know, it's the guy who holds the torch in the middle of Circle Park. And that award goes to the top overall student, not just student athlete, but we've kind of changed it up a little bit because we like to give out awards. It's what we do. So, Coop Maze, lead us into this as you lead the Vols each and every play.
Coop Maze here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thanks, Coop. What down?
Coop here. First down.
All right, Caleb. Your thoughts. Who stands out as a torchbearer for the Vols after a 71-0 shellacking? And I'll let you break this up as you wish, because we're also going to get to thoughts on just the game in general. But if you want to start with one of your torchbearers, let's go right now. I'm interested to see who wins that coveted award.
Yes, and we give out 5 each week. They're basically our versions of helmet stickers, and I wish we could give out 100 because it's...
Wait a second. I graduated from the University of Tennessee. The torchbearer is a lot bigger than the dad blame helmet sticker that such a blue coats like to put out. No. Our award is better. It's a lot better.
By the way, I also have to point out that I've only heard dat blame used as a word among people from East Tennessee. I first heard it from Johnny Majors. Is that just y'all are so religious y'all couldn't bring yourself to say GD? So you say dat blame instead.
I didn't. Gosh darn it! I thought was the substitute for that. But dad blame it. I don't think if that is a correlation, but maybe it is. Dad blame it. I don't know where that comes from. Okay.
Right.
Coop, what down is it?
Coop here. First down.
What do you got?
All right, number 5, I got Chris Brazel II caught the touchdown pass from Nico Imaliava. I mean, it was that you could have given it to all the receivers. They all looked fine. None of them put up a lot of stats because of the flow of the game, but Chris Brazel caught the touchdown pass when it was still somewhat of a game, so he gets it, even though that was the easiest touchdown grab to make.
Yep, fair enough. All right, second down.
Cooper Maze here. Second down.
What do you got?
For the second straight week in a row, a walk-on defensive back is a torchbearer. Will Brooks was part of a secondary that shut down the one strong part of Kent State, which is their passing attack. And he also had a tackle for a loss. So he was the best player in the secondary over the weekend.
You know what else he did that was incredibly deft, D-E-F-T?
What is that?
In the post game, he's sitting there with Jeremiah T. Lander, who is a young guy who could potentially say something stupid with the Oklahoma game coming up. And they were asked about that. And Will Brooks essentially just took over and said, I'll handle that one. And it was open to both people. And he gave the most Josh Heupel answer of Josh Heupel answer. So we'll get into, does going back to Oklahoma motivate Tennessee players throughout the week, because he got fired as the offensive coordinator there. But that might have been his best move on Saturday night, just to make sure, not that Jeremiah T. Lander would say anything, but just to make sure that the narrative stays on track of it's just the next game, even though nobody believes that. All right?
No, nobody believes that at all. So number 3 is, and I wish I could have given it to both of them, but guys, part of the Torchbearer Awards is, did you make a play when the play mattered? And yes, theoretically, none of these plays mattered, but technically the plays did matter when it was in the first quarter, technically. So Dylan Samson got my torchbearer over Deshaun Bishop. Deshaun Bishop did have 7 carries for 120 yards, which is incredible. Dylan Samson, 13 for 101. Samson, 4 touchdowns. Bishop, 2. They both deserve shout-outs, but Samson did the bulk of his work when it was the first quarter, and it was still technically a game.
Well, and I don't even say this jokingly. I mean, there are some good high school running backs, and I'm not taking anything away from Deshaun Bishop, who I had concerns about before the season, or Dylan Samson on what they did. But Caleb, now you and I were a little bit down, significantly down on the running back position before, and there's still one last box to check. And that's pass pro against a really good defense. And I don't know that Oklahoma's a really good defense, but they're going to provide multiple looks. We did talk to Coop Maze, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, 50 years in East Tennessee yesterday. And he said they're crushing it in pass pro. Said the term is scratch where it itches, which I'd never heard before. And that they have now a really good feel for it. The way he described it, and you can go back and watch the video, it's a little bit instinctual. I always thought that pass pro was just learned by looking at the set. I don't want to go too long here, but he said that they're both doing a great job in pass pro, and scratch where it itches is my new saying. Caleb, we're on what down?
Well, we are on 4th down, but I still got 2 more to give it to.
No, we're on 3rd down, and then we're going to double up for 4th down.
Tennessee.
Well, no, I've already named 3.
3rd down.
Okay, so we got Dylan Samson, and who else so far?
We've named Chris Brazel, Will Brooks, and Dylan Samson.
Chris Brazel, Will Brooks, and Dylan Samson. Okay.
Number 2, sticking with the secondary, because that was another strength of Tennessee, was Jermon McCoy. I mean, Dave, you are right. He looks like an NFL cornerback, and man, your secondary looks so much better when you got a cornerback that can take away one side of the field. And Tennessee's looking like they have a cornerback that can do that this year.
Doesn't it? Hit the like and subscribe button and put in the comments who you think should be a torch bearer, as I remind you that we're represented by Banks and Jones. We'll get to the top torch bearer in 30 seconds. Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks and Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks and Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks and Jones. T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com.
Cooper Maze here. 2nd down.
All right, what do you got for I hit the wrong one.
All SEC center Cooper Maze here. 4th down.
4th down. All right.
And I'd love a down reset to give me 2nd down when it's 4th down. A six play down.
Oh boy, that's like Colorado plus. All right, really who's the top torch bearer?
The top torch bearer is of this game, Javonte Spraggins. Now, you could have made it interchangeable with Cooper Maze or Javonte Spraggins, but Spraggins is the primary specific run blocker in this offense, and Tennessee was, it was Kent State, so I can't I know I got to make this relative, but it looked like they were blocking air out there, and that was Javonte Spraggins more than anybody else.
So your top 4, Dylan Samson, Chris Brazel, Jermon McCoy, Javonte Spraggins, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to put that on our poll question. You vote.
No, wait. Sorry. No. It's Will Brooks, Dylan Samson, Jermon McCoy, Javonte Spraggins.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna go Samson, Chris, Jermon McCoy, and Javonte Spraggins. No offense to Will Brooks, but he got his love last week, and we only have room for 4. So, Caleb, you obviously didn't mention some guy named Nico. I'm curious as to why. Is he a given in your mind already in just the 3rd game of the season against an incredibly weak opponent? Or did you not judge him as one of the top players in that game for the Vols? Because I did.
I mean, he only had 170 yards passing and a touchdown. And the reason it's hard, and by the way, that's not to hold it against him. I don't think there were many chances for him to be great, because then the chances he would have had, Dylan Samson was turning a 10-yard gain into a 50-yard touchdown. And so it was just so easy to move the ball that I don't think Nico had really any chance of being what fans wanted him to be. So because of that, yeah, he didn't make the list. Because quite honestly, Dave, I think you and I could have started a quarterback out there and won that game on Saturday.
Well, I wouldn't go quite that far, but I would put it this way: Rick Clausen could put up 40 points.
Yes. Oh, that's so mean. But you're so
right. Rick Clausen. What in the world?
Larry Scott and Butch Jones offense could put up 40 points.
Probably. And let's get to Tennessee's ranking. Hit that like and subscribe button. I haven't even asked yet and vote on our poll question that is on board. No offense to Will Brooks, but we had to leave him off because YouTube just limits you in the number of poll question opportunities that you have. So you got Dylan Samson, Chris Brazel, Jermod McCoy, Javontes Spraggins on the YouTube page. Vote, and I would greatly appreciate it. Dylan says Nico is the guy that lit the torch, so he can't be a torch bearer. Okay, I like that. I thought I will say this. It's going to be hard with him being the focal point of this offense not to be a torch bearer unless he has a dud game. And I don't think that happens because you look back at Hendon Hooker and the very few mistakes he had, he could have been a torchbearer almost every week. There were a couple of times when they got defended pretty well. But for the most part, he could be a torchbearer, what would you say, 11 out of 12 weeks if you wanted to make an argument. So I like the fact that you're going a little off schedule and not just taking the easy way out. But Dylan Samson is running away with this over Chris Brazel, who is going to be an NFL player as well. Okay, Jermod McCoy is going to be an NFL player as well. Javontes Spraggins, do you agree, is going to be an NFL player as well, right?
Yes, exactly. I totally agree with you on all those.
And I tell you what, I was watching a lot of NFL over the weekend, and I see a lot of smaller backs. It filters up. So high school starts with these spread offenses about 20 years ago, because I know that because I got a lot of high school buddies that are coaches. I got a lot of buddies that are high school coaches. And it filters up. So it starts to go to college, and it's going to start to go to the NFL. So the days of Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon Barkley are going to be over. They're going to want Dylan Samson type. So I think he's an NFL player too. Am I getting ahead of myself, Caleb?
No, I mean, I totally understand that, and I agree. I think it was hard to show in this game because of how bad Kent State was. But I do think I'm with you. Those are all NFL guys. And I mean, Samson is going to be an NFL running back. I have to say it. I'm eating a little crow. He does look like Alvin Kamara now, who, by the way, had a lot of fun against Dave's Cowboys on Sunday. But
what the H to that? What the H? Who's higher on the Vols right now? Is it the national media or odds makers? Because
we got to talk report card first.
Oh, report card. Let's knock it out. All right, what do we got?
All right, so in their grades, and guys, again, keep in mind, this is like when I said it in my post, it's a senior year honors student taking third grade courses. That's like what they're doing when they're playing Kent State. That's what you're grading on right now. Quarterback gets a B. I didn't think there was anything spectacular, and it's largely because Jake Merklinger was 2 of 5 for 17 yards. Nico wasn't amazing. Gaston Moore was the best of the group. Running back gets an A+. Receivers get an A, tight ends get an A, and offensive line gets an A-. Do you object to anything from offense?
It's hard for me not to say everybody gets an A when you throw down 71 points. But I get it. You're being purposefully picky, and I dig that. All right.
Yeah.
So the defense?
Defensive line gets an A. Didn't generate a lot of sacks, but they didn't have the chance. And James Pierce keeps bringing pressure, just can't get that actual sack to close the deal. But they were perfect in the game. Linebackers get a B-.
I want to say something about James Pierce. He's requiring extra blocking. It is opening. I noticed that particularly. I've noticed it throughout the year, but in particular on Saturday, people come into games thinking James Pierce isn't going to beat us.
That's exactly what they're doing. It reminds me. Do you remember John Henderson's senior year after he won the Outland Trophy his junior year, and he drew double teams every single week? And there were questions of why was John Henderson not having the same year?
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So linebackers is the worst group of the bunch. They actually get a B-, and that's because Kent State, which is a really bad rushing team, had too many good runs. I mean, J.D. Sherrod, the quarterback, had 56 yards on 7 carries. Jordan Lowe getting 33 yards on 7 carries. Averaging over 4 yards a carry was a bad look for the Kent State rushing attack, given how bad they are and how good Tennessee's defensive front is. And I got to put the onus on the linebackers for that to a certain degree.
I can roll with that. Special teams.
Well, also, here's my crazy part. Secondary, A+. That's right, A+.
Whoa!
Yes. And special teams, punting, not applicable because Tennessee didn't punt. Place kickers, Max Gilbert made all field goals and extra points. Josh Turbeville nailed an onside kick. Never had spotted Kent State past the 25. A+ for place kicking. And return game for A. Tennessee had a bunch of great returns with Boo Carter, Jamal McCoy, and Squirrel White all getting in on the action.
Yeah. I'm friends with Josh Turbeville's dad. Funny story. And I was texting Josh's dad, and I thought I was going to say, hey, nice onside kick, just, as a kudos to your son. And I accidentally texted the younger Turbeville, and and I didn't know I was. And he goes, thanks. And I said, hey, got a second? Because there was something else I wanted to ask him about. And I call, and I'm like, oh, man, I feel like such a stupid old idiot. I didn't mean to call you, Josh. He goes, no problem. All right. I said, but it was a nice onside kick.